Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining today. As you'll know that today's Let's Talk Parkinson's is a lived experience. So we've had 3 people volunteer to share their story, and we thank them very much for that. We have Keith Harding, Rosemary Tweedy, and Eileen Novo. So thank you to the 3 of you for putting your hand up. And joining us today is our nurse on our info line, Melanie Ledbury. If you've called into our info line, you would have spoken to Mel. So thanks for joining, Melanie.
My pleasure. Good morning, everyone.
And we also have Morel Brockett, who is our digital and marketing manager at Parkinson's New South Wales. All right. So if you've got questions of either Keith, Rosemary or Eileen throughout, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. Today's meant to be a very informal and casual chat as they share their stories. But yes, please feel free to ask any questions that you have throughout the meeting. All right, so the first question, and I might ask Rosemary if you'd like to kick us off. The first question is, what were the first signs that you thought that you thought may be a health issue?
My first signs was my left hand not working properly and the fingers not moving. And I went to physiotherapists, I went to many people because I had no idea what was happening and they had no idea either. And then what happened, my son commented that I wasn't swinging my left arm, and he went overseas and came back 13 weeks later and said, you are still not swinging or using your left arm. So by then I thought there's something else going on. So I went and saw the local doctor, who's a friend, and he said, maybe you have Parkinson's. And I, like a 2-year-old, said, I don't want to have Parkinson's. And he said, well, you mightn't, but you might have it. So he sent me along to a specialist.
And thanks, Rosemary. And Keith?
Yeah, it started after 3 years of androgen deprivation therapy for prostate cancer. Grade 9 in 2016 when I was 65.
I got listen to this for now. Let me figure it.
When that finished, my right hand index finger started going. Until then, I had no clue. I've got a green phone thing come up on my screen. What's that?
I'm not too sure.
That's gone now.
Yeah, it's gone? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that. So my health issue started back 2016 and there was no sign of it up until that stage. And then, 2019, I finished that therapy and was sometime later, can't really remember how long after that, when I got the first indication that I had Parkinson's, but nothing else, only just one thing. That was the right index finger going by itself.
Well, thanks, Keith. Eileen?
Yeah, my symptoms start with severe fatigue. I'm tired all the time. At the evening, my both legs like cement, heavy, and my muscles aching, my neck really stiff, and my GP told us that I checked my sleep study. I have bone scan and CT scan, everything. And in the end, he couldn't find anything wrong with me. So he said, you have to see a neurologist. From neurologist, he only saw me 5 minutes and diagnosed with me with Parkinson. I said, it can't be because I don't have any treatment at all. And I don't have any major symptom of the Parkinson. But for he to diagnose me, he said my voice is thinner and the high pitched soft voice, and also my facial is like a mask facial, and also he tests my balance. He pushed my shoulder 3 times. Each time falling backward. He said he saw me walking a little bit shuffle. That's he diagnoses me. And he sent me to have a brain, the MRI to my brain. Yeah, after that, he said, you start with dopamine if your muscle aching start ease. That's that's confirmed the diagnosis.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I start taking the dopamine Mesapar about in that time, 18 months ago. Immediately, within 24, 48 hours, my muscle aching is gone, almost gone. And I just have to realize that, yeah, I got Parkinson's disease.
Mm. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Eileen.
Mm-hmm.
Keith, how were you finally diagnosed?
Yeah, I saw me GP. There was nothing the first time, and you know, he did the two tests like the neurologist do. So he referred me to a neurologist. The first one I went and saw him, there was nothing that day at all. He said, come back if you see anything else. But anyway, in the meantime, he referred me to Wollongong Hospital. And anyway, I got in to see this neurologist, and I'm talking 5 months probably at least. And he could see a bit of a tremor, and he sent me for MRI, brain MRI, and 6 months later showed me the thing, and that went straight over my head. But anyway, at that stage, he put me on Parkinson, 3 a day, 3 a month, 3 a day, yeah, and which worked about 75%. And then next time I saw him, he gave me one more, which took it down to probably about 95%. And after that, I went to go back, and there was a different neurologist there. That bloke moved on, and Dr. Dell took over from that stage.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Keith. Rosemary, how were you finally diagnosed?
Well, through the specialist, who, when I first walked in, I was saying, I'm here to see whether I have Parkinson's. I hope I don't. And he said, of course you do. I can see by the walk. And that was a bit demoralising, I found. That was in 2010. So I've had it for 15 years now. And he wasn't very sensitive. But in time I found another doctor. But yes. And I think I just walked out of the doctor's office just feeling stunned that I had this diagnosis and not really knowing what it meant.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions or comments so far? No? All right, moving on.
It's interesting, isn't it, the different ways symptoms we had initially.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I feel like Eileen had more non-motor symptoms with your tiredness and your fatigue.
Yeah.
And you both, and Keith in particular, had your tremor with your finger.
Yeah, I fatigue really started back in February 2017 when I had radiation, and that really knocked me about. And from then it continued, and I was suffering from fatigue ever since, basically.
Yeah. I think we've touched on this a little bit, but what was your first reaction when you were first diagnosed? Three of you.
Me?
Yeah, sure. Go,
Yeah.
Keith.
I wasn't surprised. It had gone on for so long, and things just were starting to get worse. The medication he put me on was working, and when I went back to see him, I said, I've been thinking over the last 3 weeks about things that have gone back years back, shaking and tremors and a few things. You just brush them off like a single tremor. I didn't know anybody with Parkinson's, didn't even know all the symptoms, just that it was tremors. And so I wasn't really surprised. I was surprised when he told me I'd had it since about 2010. And then that was what, 2019, 2020. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise.
Why did he think 2010, Keith?
It just made what I think was probably, well, actually two neurologists said 2010, just on the time frame and the tremors that I had. And I was at the gym doing weights and things back about 2014, 13 and that, and I was getting shakes in the gym and mostly at night, and the tremor would wake me up, just the odd one, and I just didn't think Parkinson's. I just And that's how they estimated it. And they both said the same thing about 2010. So made me think that's probably pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rosemary, you said that you were kind of in denial and a bit shocked.
I was
About
absolutely stunned, and I didn't really know what it was, but I knew I didn't want it.
Yeah.
And we have a memory of our family. Came back home from the doctors, and my 3 adult children had come home to hear what the doctor said, and we all sat around eating Thai meal. The Thai meal was wonderful, but none of us knew what was involved and what would happen. So yes, and then when I went on the medication, I was very, very tired, and I was in a very senior role at that stage and made work quite challenging for quite a while. I wish I knew then what I know now about exercise.
Yeah. And Eileen, how about your reaction?
It was shocking, and I even argued with the neurologist. I said I don't have any symptom of the Parkinson. Yeah, because I don't. In that time, I was move up from my original working place in the hospital. I'm registered nurse working in the hospital. I moved up to Mid-North Coast. I living with my husband in 25 acres. We don't have a support service, not like in Sydney. I had a lot of support. I was so shocking. I went to neurologist by myself. So when I get diagnosis, I keep arguing with him. I say, it can't be the Parkinson. And he said that we just do the brain, CT brain and MRI brain and see have any lesion in there. Or you just try the dopamine to see if it can ease your symptom. That's confirmed the diagnosis. Once I take a mess apart and start ease my symptom, he told me that's a formal diagnosis for me.
Does anyone
Yeah.
have anything that they would like to share? Oh,
Tracy,
Georgina.
I was just going to, oh, sorry.
Oh, yes, you go, Mel.
Yeah, I was just going to add that that's a really common shock, an absolute disbelief, and in a way, grief, and that you're grieving the loss of your health in that form is really difficult. So we get a lot of people calling just absolutely shocked. And what you said so true. Particularly when you're in a profession where you're a nurse and you're caring for others and you're solving everybody else's problems, and suddenly you have this problem that you can't solve, and you're taking on a different role. You're needing some care yourself.
Yeah, in that time I was 58 years old. I've been diagnosed 18 months ago. Yeah, and I just don't believe it. Till I have told my family over the phone, and in the end my colleague coming to see me, I just crying. I just don't believe, and I still too young to get the Parkinson in that time.
Absolutely, it's a lot to comprehend. It's a lot, and I think just gaining knowledge and networking as you are now with others, it starts to heal. It starts to heal.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Gina?
Oh, me.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I come in late because I had trouble with my computer. Is this for carers or is this for actual Parkinson's patients?
Or for anyone.
So
People
my
living with
husband can
Parkinson's.
join in this one.
Sorry?
My husband can come here and talk about it.
Yes, yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought it was just because sometimes it was just for carers. Because I like
Yes,
him
it's a separate meeting. Yeah, separate group. But this
Okay,
is
well, I'll just go and get him and see if he wants to have a talk because he's been wanting to do a group.
Oh,
And
great.
we only just found out where a group is, where we live, but we haven't gone there yet for him.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's go and get him.
No worries at all. Sue, I think I see you with your hand up. You might just need to unmute yourself.
Just talking about being a nurse. I was a nurse as well when I was still working, and I found I couldn't do what I wanted wanted to do as quickly. I was a dialysis nurse, so we had a lot of connecting with fine motor skills, the machine and the tubes and everything to put people on hemodialysis. So I found I wasn't able to do it. I was dropping things. This is before I was diagnosed. I was dropping all the little things, and my strength, I couldn't lift things like I used to. Like you had to move machines and move bits machinery and big bottles, and I just found I was just so weak, and I couldn't work as quickly as I used to. And then the computerized nursing came in with the computers. You had to do everything on a computer, and I couldn't work my fingers properly because I couldn't get them to, I don't know what it was, but it's just really difficult. And I thought, this is annoying. And I didn't think of anything of it. And then I used to go walking in the bush and up, a lot of walking. And I found I was really walking with heavy, clunky feet. I was sort of couldn't lift my legs, and they were getting really tired and all this sort of thing. So in the end, I went to the doctor, and I did go to a neurologist, and he watched me walk, and he said, "You've got Parkinson's, go away and take this tablet." And I, what? I can't believe it. Yeah. Anyway, he just said, take these tablets and come back in so many weeks. And it was not very supportive. So I thought, no, that's not right. So I went off and got another opinion, and the lady, the neurologist, said, yes, you have. And she was very supportive and very good. But, I must have had it a couple of years before I actually got diagnosed, I think, because I was going on and on with this sort of problem at work, not being able to go fast enough, and I thought, oh, maybe it's my age. I was 65 at the time. Anyway, I realised that I couldn't stay nursing because I couldn't contribute properly. I was too slow. And the medication does make you a bit spaced out sometimes. It's sort of sleepy and tired. And anyway, so I retired. So that was 10 years ago, yeah. And so it was very difficult. And in the beginning, I didn't have much pain or anything, but now, 10 years later, I started to get a lot of muscle pains and aches and stiffness more. Yeah, so it was pretty difficult. But anyway, you have to keep going. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Sue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rosemary and Keith, how did the diagnosis affect your working life?
I've been on a pension for years, so I wasn't working. I was doing things around home, gardening and stuff like that. But I was paid off because I was legally blind, and they told me I couldn't do the job at the time. So I've been on a pension ever since. Had a few odd jobs and here and there, and my wife's had a few jobs as well. And she's been out to work, so we've survived all right. But yeah, that's hasn't affected me work at all because it was gone before.
Yeah. Rosemary?
I was in a senior role as a senior researcher in a not-for-profit, and I couldn't keep. I was working part-time, and I had a small business on the side, and I used to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, I just found I couldn't keep those 3 days in a row up, so I did some fancy talking because I didn't want everyone to know I had Parkinson's, and I convinced them that I could have Wednesday not working and work Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and so I was able to keep that going, and I was pleased. But I also knew that it took me quite a while to adapt to the tablets I was on, and just to be able to work with them, and my tiredness was enormous. But I still worked. I was 62 when I was diagnosed, but I still then went into another role after that. but I arranged it to be that I only had to be in the office 3 days a week, and I could work from home for that one. So that again was a senior role, national manager in research. So I was able to keep going for a few years after the diagnosis, and I still do some work now.
Yes, I was going to ask. You're still doing a bit of work, aren't you?
Yes, I'm doing a bit in social work and in research. It's not a lot, but it's enough to keep me occupied and my brain working, I think. And yes, so that's good.
Yeah, no, that's great. Wendy, hang on, I'll just you'll need to unmute yourself.
Sorry, there we are. Just listening, it seems like quite a few people have had a very negative first experience with a neurologist. How many neurologists actually tell people that they should exercise or do whatever, instead of just walking out of that room thinking, what's ahead of me? We should be able to walk out with not only tablets, but something else as well. I don't know.
Well, back there when I was diagnosed, there wasn't the talk about exercise like there is now.
Yeah, I think I was diagnosed, I think a little bit later. It was 11 years ago now, and it was just starting. I remember Melissa McConaughey coming to a Parkinson's information thing and talking about exercise then. And I think it was just starting then. People were just starting to realise. Yeah.
And Wendy, that's a great point, because that's absolutely essential, and we always recommend that and mention it to people that call the info line about exercise. So it's great you mentioned that. Not only following the neurologist's instructions and medication, but exercising and finding something that you can enjoy,
Yes. Yeah.
is key.
And to have that horrible experience, first of all, where you walk out and your whole world has crumbled, it's awful. But if they can break the news and say, not only can you take this tablet, it's suggested doing da 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 da, then at least it gives you something more to focus on, I suppose.
I think it gives you some hope.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Martin, you might need to unmute yourself. And then Lena, I see that you've got your hand up. Can you unmute Martin?
No.
How's that? Yep, I can hear you.
I was just commenting on Rosemary's started saying she felt like she was stunned. That probably doesn't cover it, I don't think. It gets a little bit worse than stunned. When I was diagnosed, I walked down to the chemist to get the tablets. I went into the chemist shop and I was standing there for a minute, and then I just collapsed. And I knocked over the thing full of sunglasses and reading glasses, and I knocked deodorants all over the place and scattered people everywhere. And I just collapsed on the floor and knocked all this stuff over. And they wanted to call an ambulance. I said, no, I'm not sick. I've just found out I've got Parkinson's. They said, your doctor should have soothed you down a bit. You're obviously very tense. And I said, yeah, well, he just said, I've got it and good day.
Oh. Gosh, Martin, I'm sorry that happened to you. That sounds terrible.
Can I tell you what my doctor said? When I was there, the neurologist, Dr. Dowell, we went through a few things, and I found him quite good. And he said, Parkinson's, is incurable and unstoppable, but he said I'd slowed it down slower than typical Parkinson's because I exercise and I keep busy all the time. But I've exercised for a long time. And that's what he told me, straight up.
That's great, Keith. Good to have that those words of comfort.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to hear that you know, it's incurable and you can't stop it, but that's the facts. And as far as I'm concerned, if he tells me anything else, he's done his job short. So, and he's followed on, you know, all from that. So I've got more than just medication. I've got some support as well from him, but every 6 months when I see him, not in between, but.
Thanks, Keith. Lena, need to unmute.
I had little things that happened. I always was into doing hobbies and sewing and knitting and pottery and you name it, I did it. And then I found that I couldn't use my finger.
Sorry, continue, Lena.
Yeah. Yeah, so I couldn't pick up the pegs and peg my washing on. And little things, you know, I went for walks and my shoe felt like it was going to fall off all the time. And in the end, I got cranky with it all. So I wrote a list, went to my normal doctor. He was very, very good. He looked at the list and he says, I'll give you a referral to the neurologist and here is your list. Give it to him before you go in and see him because he knew already then. So, but then I used to walk 7 kilometers every 6 days of the week. And now with the Parkinson's, I can't walk. I get cold and I sort of freeze and my feet don't work properly and so on. But it was interesting to see my doctor. He knew straight away, but he wasn't going to say anything. Just get to the neurologist.
Thanks, Lena. Caroline. So you just need to unmute yourself. There we go.
Not Caroline, but I'm Quinlan's husband. I've had Parkinson's for I think about 3 or 4 years or 5 years, and it's just been getting a lot harder now dealing with it than it has been previously. But one of the things that has helped considerably is Tai Chi. We go to Tai Chi every Friday at lunchtime, and it runs for about an hour, a bit over an hour, and it's exercises for virtually every part of the body. And I've found it very helpful because on many days I need the walking stick to get me around, and it might only be for a few hours during the day, but there's no doubt for me that Tai Chi has helped considerably.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for that tip. Who else does Tai Chi? 12 hands. Lovely.
Also, the neurologist was very supportive.
Oh, the one other thing there is that my neurologist has been exceptionally helpful in terms of answering my questions on what's happened to me. So,
oh, that's great.
And what was that other program? The one,
the
Warriors program. She told us about
PD Warrior.
Yes, yes.
Great. So you've done that, have you?
I've went for about a month or 2 months, but it wasn't really for me at that stage. The exercises I was doing at home, but I found that I really needed to go to that session each week to keep doing what I should be doing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Right.
John.
There you go.
Yeah.
Our biggest problem with it, the years, lots of little incidental things happen. And there are lots of questions and no answers. Spoke to doctors and they passed me off. And I decided myself I'm going to keep going till I find out what the problem is. One day I was at home in my feet, but glued to the ground. I just couldn't move.
It was just shuffling everywhere.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I went back to the doctor again and said, look, there's something wrong. What about it? And then he said, okay, look, send off to a neurologist. And I got answers. And I was so grateful and I understand that there's a problem there, and as it becomes aware, and it was just a relief to notice that there is something wrong. And we can get on to working with it. So, I was diagnosed, aware of it 3 years ago.
We got diagnosed 3 years ago. But all through COVID, there were so many random symptoms. Eating, having food, shuffling feet. There wasn't shakes, but there was just a whole lot of random symptoms that who do we go to for help? And you couldn't go to anybody.
You get the injection.
So we eventually rang the doctor, and yeah, she said, how about I send you to neurologist? And then 5 months later when we got in, yeah, it's just so much relief. It linked all these random problems and gave us answers.
Yeah.
And that's
thanks
just
for
an
sharing.
oh, sorry, Stacey.
Oh, you
didn't
go,
mean to-
Mel. No, you go.
I was going to say that's such an important thing, and it's a funny thing to say, isn't it, that there's a relief, but there is when you know there's something not quite right, when you know your body and there's something not quite right, and then things add to that, and you become aware that something's not right. To actually get that diagnosis, even though it's not the most pleasant course, is a relief that at least there's a reason for how you're feeling. So I understand, resonate with that.
The first half a tablet that he had, he could suddenly walk fine without shuffling his feet. He said, my feet aren't glued to the floor after 1/2 tablet. Yeah, that's been beneficial on the tablets for him.
Fantastic. Thank you. A beer?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for invitation.
No problem.
Thank you. Actually, I came to Australia in 2013, and just after that, I went to Navitas. And after around 2 or 3 months, I found my hand shaking. And actually, at that time, my family situation in Iraq was very bad. So I think it's just a stress, normal stress, because when they called was like 3 or 4 a.m. because of the difference of the time. So I was sometimes shocked when they called me. So I think it's normal things. So when I went to the GP, he sent me to a private neurologist. And this neurologist, he didn't say anything, but he sent me to Westmead, the Parkinson clinic. But I didn't know it's Parkinson clinic, actually. I saw the neurologist and I was very relaxed. I didn't feel anything. So he said, you got Parkinson. And I was 40s, in the beginning of 40s, 43, 42. So I didn't believe, actually. I didn't believe. I laughed. I said, no, I don't think so. I think he's exaggerate or he's wrong. He said, that's good. If you don't believe, that's good. So I still see him every few months, 3 months. He still said I got Parkinson, but I was working. I was so active. I was active in all my life. I'm civil engineer and I worked in media and diplomatic field. So at that time, I was still working. And every time he asked me, are you still working? I said yes. And I walk from the early morning till afternoon. Then I used to go to TAFE till night. So I stay for this routine for 4 years, more than 4 years. But after 2018, I felt, no, I have to stop. Couldn't do anything. I dropped everything. I couldn't even use the landline for work or anything. So I believe I got Parkinson actually, especially because after I did the TRODAT, the brain scan, and he said there is damage in my brain. And the symptoms increased step by step and everything going worse. So it's changed my life. And recently it's going worse. So it's terrible actually. I told my doctor, I hope you said cancer. He said cancer is better than Parkinson. So yeah, it's changed my life.
Well, it sounds like you've been through a lot, Abir.
Yeah, and the problem I have another disease like fibromyalgia, sarcoidosis. So it's terrible mix actually. And sometimes one disease affects another things to others. So it's very hard.
Yeah.
And recently the doctor said medication not work with me, maybe because of the stress. And this is the problem. The Parkinson does not work for me. He said, even you stop it as you like. Yeah, so I don't have anything to can help. I do some exercises once a week or twice a week, but I feel I cannot. Recently, even the simple exercise cannot do it. My body not help me. I have many problems. Stiffness, very, 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 very decreasing. You know, so I feel there is no hope with this disease. There is another disease you can't help. You can't do something with it, but with Parkinson, it's very hard.
When I first
Especially
diagnosed,
because I live alone. Yes, sorry.
yeah, when I first diagnosed with Parkinson, I would research a lot of information. One of the men stand out. He had Parkinson more than 20 years, and he would walk. He walked. He had changed. He walked because he said he went to the gym. Doesn't help him, but he walk helping him. So I have to go to the gym at least 3 times a week. I walk 4 kilometers on treadmill. I walk the dog. I have to walk. If you're not active in the beginning, your muscle or the joint just getting stiff and stiff. I have to force myself to walk.
I cannot walk all the time because I have cramping. My toe, it's sometimes not help me. And I lose balance a lot. I have many falls on the stairs. I live in the 3rd level without lift. I have many, many falls. Even inside my apartment, I have falls. So sometimes I cannot walk. Like actually I cannot sleep in the night. So it's very stiff in the morning. It's very hard to get out from bed. It's very hard. I spend many hours. Then I can walk a lot or even stand. So I cannot walk every day or all the time. It's very hard. I hope I can. And even the light things, I cannot lift it. You know, even the bottle of water, I feel it's very, very heavy.
Abir, have you called into our info line? Because I'm sure our nurses on our info line would be able to, provide you some support if you'd like that, some individual support.
Yeah, that's a great. Sorry, what is the message? I think you sent message.
I would love you to have a chat with me, Abir. I'm Mel, one of the info line. I'm an info line nurse. I really would. I'd love to have a chat with you. Call me and we can have a chat because there's so much happening.
Thank you very much. How can I get your contact number, or how can
Yes.
I'll pop it into the chat, Abir, or Mel, if you've done a private message to Abir.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but I'll
please
pop
give
it
me
into the chat.
Yeah, great. Give me a call. We can have a chat. There's a lot happening, and I can understand that all of that affects mood, makes people feel very, very low. So let's have a chat and try and work some strategies out to help you.
Abir goes to the same support group as I do.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I think probably the number would be in any of the information that you've got.
Any of the resources?
Yeah.
It's the 1-800 number.
Okay.
You can just ring that number. Don't worry.
So
It is option one.
what's this number for the?
For our info line.
Okay.
Yeah. So Morel's just put it into the chat to everyone. The info line number is 1-800-644-189.
It's option one for the info line, but if you don't remember that, someone will take your call and direct you to me, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Please call. Please give me a call.
That might be a nice little segue into the next question, which is around what is your approach to living with Parkinson's? And Rosemary, I might throw to you for the first answer question.
I've got a whole lot of things that I've worked out over time. I've had to have DBS, and I've had lots of difficulties with my mobility, and I still do. I can't walk by myself at all. So I've had to be quite intentional and work out how to make my life work in a positive way, in a reasonable way. So I've divided what I'm going to talk about. It won't be long, but between physical, emotional, psychological, social, and spiritual. So I've segregated in that way. The physical, I just exercise such a lot. I use Power for Parkinson's, which is on YouTube, and they have endless exercise. It's an American place and firm, and they've done a whole range of exercises, and it's always available on YouTube. And it's just the trainers are tremendous, and there's a wide choice for you. I eat well and I move a lot. I do lots of jigsaws for my brain. I didn't used to like them, but I've learned to like them and enjoy them. Because I think Parkinson's can take away so much your sense of yourself and the worth, and make life very hard. That's how the experience is for me. If I don't plan and work very consciously, I allow myself what I call blah days when I just feel sorry for myself. But I don't have them very often, but I certainly allow myself to feel yuck. I do something nice for myself every day, and that might be just having a cup of tea and sitting in the sun, or something like that, or ringing up a friend. I also plan every day to look forward to something, which again might be talking to a friend, watching a television program, and those two things mean that I wake up with a sense of, let's get some good things in the day, even if I can't walk very much. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Psychologically, I really watch what I say to myself. We have about over 14,000 words and ideas that go through our brain every day. So I really make sure that I'm as kind and encouraging and nice to myself in what I think and say as I can. And that's taken a lot of work of mine to be able to monitor my self-talk, what goes on in my brain, and be positive to myself. I have a vision board, and it has lots of sayings on it that encourage me. So I see that in my bedroom the moment I wake up. And the vision board is really interesting because the sayings won't mean much to other people, but they mean something to me, and they're encouraging to me. And some people think I'm crazy having a vision board. I think my husband thinks I'm a bit crazy. But anyway, I
think
find it really,
I think it's a beautiful thing, Rosemary.
I find it really helpful.
Yeah.
Have a whole range of quotes that I can draw strength from. And I work hard not to define myself as a Parkinson's patient. I'm Rosemary who has Parkinson's. I'm not a Parkinson's patient. And to me, there's quite a difference in the two. Socially, I ring friends. I have friends here. My husband and I invite people over a lot, and I still do some work. Now, the spiritual thing for me is making sure every year I have a goal, have 2 or 3 goals and that helps me find purpose and meaning in the year as well. And as I've got older, I think we live in a fairly ageist society but I've found it's really, really important for me to have a focus for my year, which has been various projects or various other things that are important to me. And one of the things I've got going is a group from women in the street. And I've just put in the letterboxes a whole lot of invitations. So a group of us meet at my place once a month. They're not Parkinson's people, but we moved into here a few years ago, and it's a way to meet people and to have some connections. And I have a good doctor, and he and I have many robust discussions about treatment and what's ahead. And finally, I try to focus on what I can do, not what I can't do. So I hope that makes sense.
A lot of great positivity there. Great positivity. Wonderful. And I think touching a little bit previously about the specialist saying the correlation with cancer and with Parkinson's disease, I honestly believe from my nursing experience, if somebody is saying that they can help, that there is a medication that can help you, that exercise can help, I think that's a lot of positivity there. If a specialist is saying, let's work together, let's start you on some medication, let's manage your symptoms, start some exercise, I think that in itself is a very positive thing, that you can actually receive some help. It's not the message that you can't be helped. It's a positive message that you can be helped.
My doctor sort of talked me into having deep brain stimulation. He didn't talk me into it, but he kept mentioning it because he thought it would help me, and it did.
Positive thing for you, Rosemary?
Yes, look, the trouble is I couldn't walk after it for weeks and weeks, and I didn't know. So that was the challenge, and it took ages to get me walking, but I got there they got there at the end.
I'll throw to Keith and Eileen to answer the question. Then I see that Mark's patiently waiting with his hand up, so I'll throw to Mark after Keith and Eileen. Keith, what's your approach to living with Parkinson's?
Well, I asked my wife that question when I read that question you sent to me, and said, "What do you think, Julie?" She said, "Well," she said, "you do everything you can to stop the progression of Parkinson's and get on with doing what you do," which has worked according to the well, my medication hasn't gone up for a long while. I am having trouble walking these days, but and I just keep basically doing that, and it's just a thing that I've always done. I mean, I've always been very independent all my life, been vision impaired and that. And when I had the cancer, and I did the same thing. My goal was when I started the cancer treatment was to get to the end in the best condition I possibly could. But radiation sort of changed that a little bit, and it's the same now. I mean, I understand it's going to progress, but that's basically how I treat it, to just get the best out of life now, and that's by exercise and like Rosemary said, I'm not Parkinson's, I'm Rosemary with Parkinson's. That's a brilliant attitude, and I think that's a good thing to be. Yeah, and basically that's what I keep doing all the time.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
Thank you. Eileen.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with Rosemary. I think I've been diagnosed when I was 58. I'm 60 now, but I still working as a nurse. I work in the nursing home. I think I told people, say, I got Parkinson's disease. People will just ask me, say, you doesn't look like a Parkinson, or I will just give them more information about Parkinson. It's not just the treatment, just unshuffling work, or not just old people disease. So those things I was helping people can understand what the Parkinson, why is the widespread. As the younger onset people get more and more people got the Parkinson.
Yeah, using it as an opportunity to raise awareness.
Yes, that's
yeah.
I think the Parkinson gave me the purpose of my life. Yeah. I was teaching in the teaching hospital, the aged care nursing specialist. So, but in here, I just using as me the knowledge as the younger onset Parkinson patient to education, other people awareness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you.
So we're going to go to Mark, Suzanne, and then Lena.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I've got a good news story, actually. It's going to brighten everybody up, I hope. I was diagnosed in 2018 at the age of 60. Had all the usual reactions. I now do exercise physiology twice a week. I have a cold shower every morning, which makes people cringe, but it really wakes you up.
Especially during winter, Mark. Oh my gosh.
Cringe just thinking about it.
Well, it wakes you up, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a range of symptoms, and I do a lot of work on the web, and so typing became difficult for me. I like Rosemary. I started noticing something was weird when my left hand, my little pinky, just started doing weird things, and then I ended up with a lot of the classic symptoms. I've got a friend that's a bit of a maniac about gut health and your microbiome, and I've read a lot about that too. About 2 weeks ago, I started taking a probiotic. Like, I've been eating a lot of yogurt and stuff, which is good for probiotics, but I started taking a pill probiotic, and I can now type again. My balance has improved. I've got a range of my symptoms have improved, and I don't work for these people. I have no commercial interest, but these. Oops.
Oh, it's because your screen is blurry. Did you want to put it in the chat, Mark?
I'll put it in the chat. It's these are probiotics plus SB. They've got 4 strains of bacteria in it, and they've made an enormous difference to my life. I can now put on Mondays without falling over.
Oh, that's great, Mark. Oh, I'm glad that's had an improvement for you.
So it's really actually quite life-changing. So I mean, as I say, I don't work for these people. I'm not advertising, but I thought the other participants might be interested in hearing that.
Thank you. Thanks. Suzanne Fisher, you just need to unmute.
Does that work? I've never been on Zoom before.
Oh, you've done very well. We can hear you.
Well, I was diagnosed about 10 years ago. I'm 80 now. And initially, I went to the library to get information, found a wonderful book called Goodbye Parkinson's, Hello Life. And he emphasized the importance of music and doing movement to music with quite a lot of vim and vigor. And I found that carried me through a long time. And even now, I find as symptoms get worse, you can override them with determination. So I've just recently completed a program called BIG, and it means, again, exaggerating all the movements. And so whereas I might be shuffling, if I stop and think big and stride out and swing the arms and put energy into it, you can quickly overcome. And I've progressed from using a walker to being able to walk unaided. So
wow.
Just all the time saying big. exaggerate, and music. And I also found the wonderful dance class. They're run by wonderful dancers who've had careers in dance. And I went to the Roselle one, and that was a lifesaver because, again, movement to music, it was enjoyable, it was fun, it lifted your spirits. You didn't feel so miserable, and found a group to talk to as well. So I highly recommend dance for Parkinson's, and thinking big and just striding out and doing everything with a lot of emphasis.
How did you find out about that program, Suzanne, that big
I've moved
program?
into a care facility, and they had done a program for it. And they were anxious to find a guinea pig to trial it on. So it worked very nicely. But the basis of it basically was these exaggerated movements.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Fantastic.
It worked.
That's wonderful. Suzanne, that's wonderful. And music, dance for Parkinson's, choirs, all of those
Fantastic.
activities
And
are
good for
so
the spirit.
Absolutely wonderful for the endorphins
Positive
in the brain.
thinking. Yep. And I recommend that book, Goodbye Parkinson, Hello Life. It's wonderful. And he was doing it 30 years ago. So it stood the test of time.
Yeah. Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you for sharing and for joining us for your first time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm conscious of time, so we'll just finish up with Lena's last comment or question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I also think you have to be realistic about it. I'm in my 12th years of having Parkinson's, and early this year I had to go in respite for 2 weeks, and I probably go in for a couple of weeks coming soon because my daughter's going away. And then I sort of know what I want, because realistically, I will never be better and I will never stay the same. So downhill towards the nursing home, I found a very beautiful one, and I'm really looking forward to going there when I need to. And my family sort of selected the furniture they wanted me to give them the other day. So it sort of is real to me, that because it's not if or when, it is reality that we have to go to the nursing home in the end if we live that long.
Thanks, Lena. Thank you for that. And we've come to the end, but when I send out this recording, there's a couple of questions that we didn't get to, and which is fine because there's some really great discussion. I really loved everyone sharing. But what I will do is share the answers, if that's all right, with Keith, Rosemary, and Eileen, what you answered around your support, who supports you, and then what would be your advice to others who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's, because I think there's some really lovely things that you've shared with me there. So I'd like to share them with the group. But to the three of you, Keith, Rosemary, and Eileen, thank you so much for leading today's group and sharing your Parkinson's life. It's really much appreciated. And I hope that those that are on the call and those that will listen later may have picked up a few tips and tricks, and maybe feel less alone in their Parkinson's journey as well. So thank you. Thanks, Melanie, for joining us as well, and providing your nursing expertise.
My pleasure.
And please remember, if you have any questions or would like any support, please call into our info line. The number is 1800 644 189. And we have Melanie on there. We also have Margaret and Sue Mercer, who is also a nurse at the hospital, comes in on our info line as well once a month. So we've got lots of support there for you if you would like it and need it. So that's all for today. Again, thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Nice to see you all.
Thank
you
you.
too.
For
Bye.